Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I see a lot of names and faces that I know, and several more that I've not yet met. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Scott Thompson. I work in the alumni office, and I have the pleasure of working with the law school as the school's alumni officer. We are trying to figure out during this time how can we engage our alumni, and we're still trying to slowly get back into how things used to be. It looks like we're still a ways away. The university is slowly waking up, but there's some of us who are still, actually quite a few who are still working from home. So if you hear a child scream out in the background or dogs barking, that's me. I'm still working from home. Um, this program that we have today is a university-wide program the alumni office developed, and it's our way of engaging alumni on a specific topic. And this is the first one for the School of Law. We plan on having more of these. We want to do at least one a month. Today, Dean Duncan is going to talk to you about legal education and during this crazy time that we're living in right now. Next month, on the 25th, we are in for a treat. We've got Matthew Hall and Randy Pierce. They're going to be presenting a program on crisis and emergency law. So that should be a lot of interest there as well. A lot of that information will be sent out at a later date. But I'm not going to take up any more of your time. We've got Dean Duncan, who is preparing for orientation right now. They've been so busy getting ready for this semester. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Dean Duncan, so you can tell us what's been going on.
Well, thank you so much, Scott, and for all of you attending. It's so nice to see your names, and I've missed very much being able to be with all of you all spring, and just doesn't seem possible that this could have been going on for so long. But we have a very different world we're operating in right now. I'm so proud, though, of our professors and our staff and our students. I mean, they have just been phenomenally flexible, given us a lot of grace and patience while we tried to figure it all out. And so we really do work with amazing people. So it is shown through when I think when you're going through a crisis, that's who you really are. And I think that I could not be with better people going through these challenges that we're dealing with today. Um, so I'll just start with how we kind of prepared the professors. We only had 1 week before we went remote. So you can imagine there's very few all school classes that were online to begin with. And so in March, we got the word that we would go remote. And so we had to get everybody ready in a week. And our librarian staff and our IT staff and our associate deans just did an amazing job getting the professors resources about how you even do that. How do you record your class? What are we going to do about the grading system? What do we do about exams remotely? And so they did a fantastic job getting everybody what they needed. And I think our reviews for the spring semester were some of the highest we've ever seen. So I think the students really appreciated the effort we made to transition so quickly. And it went well, really. I mean, there were hardly any bumps. And so we felt really fortunate to get through that. Of course, we hated that we couldn't have graduation. I mean, that was really sad for those students graduating, because you know what a special day that is with your families, and for all of us to congratulate them. And unfortunately, all that was virtual. Um, Going forward, we are in the middle of orientation right now. It's all virtual. So Monday through Wednesday, they watch videos that are pre-recorded. And then starting tomorrow, we'll start to have some live sessions with them on Zoom for Thursday and Friday. All our classes, there's a combination. Some very small classes are totally in person. So there are clinics and some seminars that are going to be in person. Another big group of classes are what we call hybrid, and that is going to have some online components and some in person. we have a big class. I'm going to let the admissions people update you in a minute about the entering class, but we had a big space limitation. So we had a capacity issue. If you all know, Weems is our biggest room, the big auditorium that holds 200 people. That they would only let us hold 38 people in that room, and that's our biggest room. So you can imagine how difficult it was for Dean Cooper to figure out how to get these classes to have any in-person component to it. What we've had to do with the hybrid is, say you have a section of 1Ls that meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Part of that section will come in on Wednesday or Monday, another part Wednesday, another part Friday. And then the other times they'll be watching it by Zoom. And then there's a lot of upper level classes that are completely online. So many of them will be synchronous, so they'll be live online, just like we're doing right now. And then there's a few, I think, that are asynchronous that you could do anytime, that they've already been pre-recorded and you could do it anytime. So we knew that we had to really up our game if we were going to have to do so much of it remotely in the fall. So we went to a lot of trainings over the summer. So we had a lot of people volunteer to go to different trainings and then share what they learned with our colleagues. We had Professor Lantane and Professor Ferguson did something at the university, and they are our ambassador to try to help us be resilient teachers and give us ideas on how to keep the students engaged if you're online, how to, what technologies can you use, how are we going to assess students, and lots of different things we've been thinking about. I'm happy to report, though, that the professors genuinely seem excited. I mean, although we'd all love to be in the classroom, they've really rethought how they teach, what could work better. And I think that they're excited to start on Monday and just see how all this works. We will be communicating with them constantly throughout this to see any tweaks we need to make and what advice they have for what works and what doesn't work. But they are really, I think, ready to go and have used this opportunity maybe to try new ideas. And so I think the students will benefit from all the time that the faculty have put into thinking about the classes. Because, you know, after you teach a class for a while, you kind of do the same things and you don't spice it up. And this has been, we have to reimagine everything. Our building, you cannot even fathom how much work has gone into this building, getting it ready. We have signs everywhere about the maximum occupancy in every classroom. There's a hand sanitation station and a wipe station. So students get the wipes when they come in, they wipe down their spots and wash their hands. There's one-way traffic throughout the law school. So you can only come in through career placement. You go out through admissions, and the door over by the IT office. Everybody has to wear a mask the whole time they're on campus. If you're studying in the library, if anywhere in the building, you have to wear a mask. In class, you have to wear a mask. So do the professors. I've already talked about the limited capacity, so not very many people in different rooms. So very different look. I just did a video to try to get the students ready for what these protocols might look like. I don't think it's going to win any Academy Awards, but it is so different than when you all went to law school. And there's a lot to remember with all these new ways we have to operate. So I'm sure it'll take us a while to get into the groove on Monday, but we'll have people there to help them to remember. The events are no events until October 1st, and the university will revisit. And they're taking it very seriously. I mean, the health and welfare of this community is very important to the university. And so there are definite phases of penalties if students don't obey the protocols. So hopefully with professional students, we won't have an issue with that. They'll understand how important it is to make sure they follow everything, and we're counting on that. I had thought you all might be interested in what the job situation was this summer and what we're going to do with on-campus interviews. And so I just want to see if Cassandra Latimer, who's in charge of all that career activity, can just give you just a brief update so you'll understand what we were working with as we went into the summer and now for this year. So Cassandra, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Dean Duncan. As Dean Duncan said, there were a lot of changes for the spring and summer, how that impacted our students this summer. There were, as a result of transitioning to COVID, summer associate positions transitioned as well. While there were some firms or organizations who did cancel their summer programs this past summer, there were many others who transitioned in a variety of ways, whether that be shortened summer associate periods, remote summer associate opportunities to continue on with their summer associate position, but just remotely, all the way to in-person business as usual sort of summer positions as well. So our students were incredibly resilient in if something, a curveball came their way with a particular opportunity, we were still a little early enough in the game to where we could have some other opportunities on board for them. Additionally, our faculty members really stepped up as well, and the law school was very grateful to be able to have some research assistance. Some of our students partner with faculty members and do some research assistance. So over 20 to 25 students were able to work with faculty and other organizations within the law school to have some information, to have some experience on their resumes as well. Now, as we look forward immediately after everything began to transition, our National Association for Law Placement was also kind of looking forward to fall OCI and how that might look differently this time. So many law schools began to make the decision to delay their 2L recruiting. On the first day of class, normally we have law firms on campus and interviewing for the following summer. So, Monday we would have been interviewing for summer 2021 positions beginning Monday the 24th. But like many law schools, we have elected to delay our OCI process, our formal OCI process, until early spring 2021. We did that for a couple of different reasons. One is that our 2Ls, because of the spring semester, many law schools switched to exclusive pass-fail grades. And so in an effort to make sure that our students had 2 semesters of grades under the belt, we decided to delay formal on-campus recruiting until early spring 2021. The other thing was so that our firms could more accurately project their hiring needs. We didn't want to force our employers into doing OCIs without them having an up-to-date awareness of what their hiring needs were going to be. So we've communicated that to all of our folks who have recruited with us in the last 5 years and made sure they were aware of that. We also wanted people to understand that if they needed to move forward on some things, we'll continue to make use of our job posting service. So we want people to be aware of that. Many government employers continue to move forward, particularly summer honors programs, things like that. They move forward with their recruiting process. So there is still recruiting that is happening in the fall semester, but the formal OCI will take place early spring 2021.
Thank you, Cassandra. And, one way you can help us is to keep your ear out for those job opportunities, and just at any time, you are welcome to call Cassandra or me. We are so appreciative when we get those emails about wanting to hire our students. So please keep doing that. And our alumni are great sources of those jobs. So we really thank you so much for doing that. I also want to give a shout out to Crimes Pittman. It was his endowment that allowed us to hire all those students as research assistants. I mean, we saw what was happening. We really were distraught about people that wouldn't have opportunities to do legal work this summer. And I'm so happy that through the generosity of Mr. Pittman, we were able to work with the professors and get a lot of these students placed. And I think they had really good summer opportunities. But again, you know, if it weren't for an alum, it would have been very difficult to figure out how to give that money. So thank you to him. I already mentioned that we have a huge class in admissions. You all remember, I'm starting my 4th year, which I just cannot believe I'm starting my 4th year as the dean. We wrote a letter the other day and we said starting the 3rd year, and I'm like, no, it's my 4th year. And it's just so hard to believe that it's gone that quickly. I feel like I just remember interviewing with Ben and other ones of you on the call. So starting my 4th year, and the year I started, that class was 115, if you remember. And then the next year we wanted 120, and I think we got to, it was like 147 or something that year. And then last year we wanted about 140, and we got to 159. So every year we just beat where we wanted to be, and our statistics have gotten better. So I'm going to call on Dean Bette Bradley, our admissions dean, who's doing a phenomenal job, so she can share the good news with you about where we are this year.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see all of you. My name's Bette Bradley, and I'm also a law school alum, so it's nice to be among such good company. As Dean Duncan mentioned, we have had a really successful year in admissions. Things completely, as you all know, took a different turn in March. We do a lot of big recruiting events in the spring. Our biggest event, in fact, Admitted Students Day. But thankfully, Dean Duncan got us up and running quickly, and we just did what we had to do. And so we started with some really great virtual, a series of sort of virtual info sessions where we invited faculty, 1L faculty, our clinical faculty, staff, students, career services, and invited our prospective students to those, and they were really well attended. I mean, we had probably 50 people on each call. We did a virtual law preview day, or not preview day, Admitted Students Day. That was great. We had a lot of videos, pre-recorded videos for the students to watch. And then we just really stepped up our outreach. So Dean Duncan calls every admitted student, every single one, welcome them. And then we had faculty mentors assigned to every admitted student. Current students contacted them. Our fantastic alumni council called every single admitted student. We sent a library book to them and a really beautiful brochure about our clinics. And they really were so appreciative of the outreach. And I think it made a huge difference in trying to welcome them at a time that's really difficult to connect. And so I'm really proud of all of the work that we did this spring, and I couldn't have done it without everybody at the law school and so many helpful alums. So thank you all. So we've got 167 students coming in, 167 first-year students. We also have 6 transfer students. Our academic credentials have gone up across the board. So our, that LSAT median and undergraduate GPA median mean a lot when we were getting ranked, unfortunately. So anyway, we brought all of those numbers up. Our median is now a 156 on the LSAT. Our 75th percentile is a 158, and our 25th percentile is a 152. So all of those metrics are up. Our undergraduate GPA median is up to above a 3.5. This class is 51%.
Hey, Bet, I think we lost you.
We lost her just
and
right.
49%
Yes.
female. We really pay attention to, because we, are trying to get students from Mississippi to come here and stay and work in Mississippi. So 56% of the class are Mississippi residents, and usually we kind of hover around 50%. We've got a lot of bright Mississippi students coming in that I think probably in years past may have wanted to go out of state because they're so bright and are competitive to get into schools all over the country. But they've come here, I think, because we're such a fantastic school and value. So I'm excited to see what they do. So 56% residents. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great class. There's a lot of them, but we're excited to welcome them. So thanks everybody for all you've done to help us.
Yes, so again, just so grateful for the alumni support, because when I call these students, almost to every one of them says, you all are the only school that I'm hearing from, and I'm hearing from so many different people, and I can't tell you how much you make me feel like you want me to come to your school. So I do think it makes a difference, all these calls that in the outreach, and Bet has done a great job, as you could tell from the numbers. I think when she cut out, I don't know if you all got the diversity numbers, but for the past 3 years, we've broken the diversity number record. So we've gone up every year. This year, there was way less diverse applicants nationwide, but we still are mirroring the year before's numbers. So that year, we had broken a record. It was a little low back in the spring. I was getting really nervous about what those were looking like. And they did a really concentrated effort on recruiting diverse students, and our diversity council helped with that. And those numbers then came up. So although it won't be last year's, it is tracking with the year before. And we always have our eye on that, and are trying to make sure that we have a very diverse class in all different ways that you define diversity. And speaking of that, we are very cognizant of the social unrest and what's going on in the world today, and some of the things that we need to do to make our school feel more inclusive and welcoming. So we've been working a lot on that. Our students in the 1L class, they all had to take a diversity anti-bias module that was required for orientation. So they all have done that by now. We will have a special live session on inclusion and community, and what it means to have different viewpoints, and how to be civil, and how to build a community with all different people in it. That will be live. Our new professor, Professor Butler, and Professor Cliff Johnson will be leading that for us. We hosted with BALSA How to Be an Anti-Racist book club, that book that has been so popular this summer, and had many people participate in that. So it was students, faculty, and staff, and it was really interesting to hear the different perspectives, at least in the session I was in. We're meeting with our Latino students, our outlaw students. We're meeting with BALSA. It's one of their first meetings, because we have a brand new dean of students that I want to introduce you to, Brittany Barbie. She is on the call with us today, if you can wave, Brittany. And she's very committed. She was one of our students, so she is also a graduate, and she is very committed to making sure that everyone feels like that they've got a place at this law school, and that we foster a wonderful climate to study law in. So you will see us do a lot more programming, and really just listening to our student groups about what can we do to support you. I think we do a lot and we have a lot to be proud of, but there's a lot more we can do. You know, we are not there yet. And I know that, and I'm committed to continuing to try to move us forward and welcome at any time any of your all's ideas. If you have any ideas for anything we do at the law school, diversity or otherwise, my phone and email is always open, or I'll come see you, because that's how we'll get better. It's just incorporating good ideas from all of you all. But I am really proud of where we've gone in the last 3 years with diversity. The other thing that has really taken off, and no pun intended with that, is our Air and Space program. We hired 2 new faculty members. They are known worldwide now. I could spend 2 hours just telling you where they appear in they're part of the United Nations. It's just amazing. Our students are getting these opportunities in aerospace industries with Congress. We have a new certificate that's different than the LLM. So for people that do not have a JD, you can have an Air and Space certificate. The LLM program starting to get numbers, like really nice, solid numbers. It used to be just 1 or 2 people were in the LLM program. It is just taken off. So I think that that'll be a really great thing for us to continue to. We're the only one in the nation with it. So it really is a distinguishing program we have, and they have been a great addition to us. Other news too is we won a huge award at the university. Ron Rishlack won the Distinguished Professor Award. I believe there's only 8 since they started this a few years ago. And so he won that this year, and that is given to somebody who's outstanding in all aspects of their job, has a national and international reputation. And I know you all agree with me that Ron was an easy recipient for them to select, because he is so just, when I do his reviews, I have to prepare myself, because he does so much in a year. I could barely get it all in his review and congratulate him. So we are very proud of Ron. And I know in the last few years, I've told you all, we've gotten many awards. Mike Hoffhammer won a big teaching award. We've gotten service awards given, and just many, many awards. So we're really proud of our professors. There has been some changes recently in faculty and staff. So Mike Hoffhammer did retire in May, so we're missing him this year. We did hire, so Michelle Alexandre became a dean, and we did get to hire Yvette Butler, who I mentioned is going to be part of the diversity program and orientation. It is going to be a fantastic hire. We can already tell. Every time we're on the phone with her, we just think, we made the best pick. And I know there are many schools that wanted her, because I got called from some of my friends at other schools that said, how did you get her? We wanted her so bad. And there were some good schools too. So I'm really proud that we have her coming, and she's going to be fantastic. So she'll teach con law, race in the law, and some other classes. And we love being able to remotely welcome her. We also have some new staff changes. So Eddie Upton retired, and now we have Vita Taylor, who I see on the phone. So Vita is our new registrar. So she is, talk about having a fire hose come at you. I mean, it's hard enough to be a registrar anytime, but this is an entirely new way of having to redo every single class, and it's a little crazy to be a registrar in COVID world, but she's doing a great job, has a lot of experience as a registrar. Used to work at University of Mississippi, so we're happy to welcome her back. And then I already told you about our new Dean of Students, Brittany Barbie, and then of course Yvette Butler is a new professor. So great new hires that we're really excited to join our family of people. And then we still, even with the emeritus professors, still have a lot of interaction with them. They are wonderful to us. They come to so many of when we have events on campus. They're wonderful. They support us in every way. Financially, they come by. They're just, I've truly loved getting to know some of those professors who, never worked for the law school while I was there, but are just wonderful professors that are some of your all's favorites, because I hear it when I go out, when you ask me about how's Weems or how's Bradley, and it's fun to get to know them, and they've been great. So I'm now just gonna, I could talk forever and give you a million other things, but I know you all have questions. So Scott, have you been keeping track, or can you maybe just read them to me?
Yes, we had a question come in from Yamil, who I believe is one of our graduates joining us today from Brazil. And his question is, are there, in this incoming class, and Bet, this may be a question for you as well, in the incoming class, are there any foreign students? Are they having any problems getting into the U.S. as a result of the pandemic? Are they also involved in virtual classes in the U.S. or in their own countries? Are you thinking, after this experience, in offering courses in the different levels throughout your years at law school via internet?
But do you want to take that one?
Sure, I can definitely take, we do not, I can take the first part of it for sure. We do not have any foreign students in this first year class. We do have we actually only have one foreign student in law school right now, and she's going to be a 3L. And I remember she has been very aware of the requirements to take in-person classes while she's here. I can only imagine that the pandemic is affecting foreign students applying for any sort of education here. But I can't really speak specifically to that. Susan, were you going to say
there
something?
are some LLMs,
Yes,
I believe, that are foreign students, and I think they've been okay. I've been closely talking to the air and space professors to make sure that, the changes were rapid. I mean, that we were really scared for a moment when some of those regulations came out. Then there were the lawsuits and they backed off the regulations, and now I think some more have come. So it's very fluid, but we are in close communication with those students. And according to the air and space, where they're located, we're okay for right now, they think. If we go totally online and they pull back any of our classes, we might have some issues there. But there would be issues across the United States with foreign students there. So we're just hoping that doesn't happen. But yeah, but good question. And I think as we do more with air and space, and maybe some other one of our programs, we likely could recruit more in the international arena. It's just been very hard with visas right now to the last year. So hopefully we'll have some better years for foreign students.
Susan, can I address the last piece about
Sure, yeah.
whether we might offer more online classes? I mean, I think you all are living this also. I think this is causing everybody in every field to rethink how we do things. And I certainly think that there's an appetite and an interest among the faculty and administration in exploring the possibility of offering more online classes. We just were talking about it in a curriculum committee meeting. Maybe we really think about getting to a point where students can spend their third year quite easily in Jackson, in Birmingham, in New Orleans, in Dallas, in Los Angeles, and take classes online to complete their degree. And I'm sure a lot of law schools will be thinking along those lines.
If anyone has other questions, feel free to unmute your mic and ask away, or you can type it into the chat box and I'll relay the question.
Hey, this is George Zimmerman, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm curious if the university is going to develop plans to host perhaps speakers or seminars on how really COVID, and I submit online or remote working, will impact the practice of law. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. And I think Deanne Mosley's on this call. So she is the executive director of the Mississippi Bar Association. And that might be a great thing for us to work together on with something like that. Because I think very many people would be interested in that. And we could maybe have some professors and then practitioners weigh in on that. So I'll definitely follow up with Deanne. Well, while you're thinking, I'll just update you about the budgets because that's what keeps deans up all night when you're thinking about your budgets. You know that the state cut our budget. So as a university, we got a cut. And so I think the state cut was about 2.5 maybe, but the university had a 7.5 budget cut. And that was in recognition that the last few years, even though our enrollment's gone up, we're just a tiny little part of the university. And some of the university enrollment had been declining for overall students for the last few years. And then they were worried that it might decline again with this COVID. They're just not sure, who's going to show up on Monday. And so to be safe, they did 2 budget cuts. I think it was close to 5% for your first round, and then 2.5 additional you had to identify in case we needed it, because so much of our operating budgets are on tuition. The university, I want to say, maybe supplies 14% of the overall budget, very little, if even 14%. So they did a calculation, and the provost and our outreach department were able to contribute some money so that budget cuts wouldn't be as great to the units, because a 7.5% budget cut would be crippling, as you can imagine, to almost every unit. So they were able centrally to absorb some of it. And then they also decided that whoever had been bringing in more students should get less of a budget cut. So you should get, some recognition that you had been contributing overall to bringing in more tuition. So I cannot tell you how great it was that the last 3 years we had an increase in class size, because we actually got the lowest budget cut that there was. So that is a testament to the hard work of the faculty and staff that we were able to grow those classes, and what a great year to have it happen. But even with the lowest budget cut, we took a $350,000 budget cut. That's a lot of money. I mean, you can imagine we run the whole law school on about $800,000 without scholarships and without the salaries. So a huge budget cut for us. Luckily, with the increased classes, we were going to get some more revenue from that. So I was able to just trade off on some of that. But you will see us, this year asking for your support more than ever, because to take that kind of cut's difficult. And we were hoping to use the new revenue sources to really advance the law school on a lot of different grounds. And so it was kind of frustrating. I mean, we were grateful that we had it so we could give it back without really cutting a whole lot. But we wanted to keep charging ahead because we're doing so well on admissions and other indications. And so that was frustrating, but that's where we are budget-wise, in case you were curious. So we'll need to make up that money somehow to keep advancing.
Dean Duncan, we had another question come in through the chat asking about how many active duty military or how many veterans do we have enrolled in the law school?
Beta or Beth, you'll know we have several. I mean, they have gotten a new student organization for veterans that's very active. So there are, I don't know the exact number, but by any chance, do you all have that at your fingertips? Anybody?
I don't have it right in front of me. I For this class, we've got 3 or 4, but I don't know what the total enrollment is right off the top of my head.
I think my guess would be at least 20, I would say. I mean, I know I take them to a big gala around Veterans Day, and we can't take them all. Like with the table of 10, we have to get them to pick some. So I think there's probably 20, 30, I would guess. And they've been real active. So one of the ones who was fantastic just graduated, so we'll miss him because he was really great in getting them together. But there's a nice group of them right now, and they're great students, as you can imagine. They understand rigor, and they're understand public service, and I really enjoy the veterans. They're serious about their studies. They're great students to have, and they've got some great benefits for coming to law school. So we work a lot with a guy named Andrew Newby across campus to recruit veterans. He's in charge of all the stuff for University of Mississippi with veterans, and I'm in contact with him all the time. In fact, he lives in my neighborhood, and he hates when I go on walks because he has little children and he's always out in his front yard. And I'm like, Andrew, can we just talk business just for a second about these veterans and this and that? So I think he hates when he sees me coming, but yes, we love our veterans. Any other questions? Well, I know you are busy, so I'm not going to take up more of your time, but if, like I said before, just any ideas you have or any questions you ever have, please just reach out to me. We are always excited to hear from you all, and we can't thank you enough for just your interest in our students and our school. We feel your support, believe me, in this time especially. We've had lots of people reach out to me. We have a new initiative that Scott's been putting together, and we're getting alums just to do like 30-second pep talks, and then we're going to put them in our internal newsletter every week, just 2 or 3 of those, just to get the students, like, you can do this, we believe in you, and lots of generations before you have had hard times and they've made it through. And these pep talks, I've been watching some of the videos, and they are so moving from these people. So if anybody ever wants to do one, just reach out to Scott, because we would love to have you all be part of this. And I think the students are really going to love to see what all the alums do. And Ben has gotten us some big guns from the AVA, so we're going to have some real national people be cheering them on. And it's just been a great project to see these alums. I was laughing. I said, if they had $1 for every time they hear the word grit, perseverance, they'd be rich, because we all have the same kind of message about, we believe in you and you can do this. So any other things before we wrap up? All right, you are the best, and it was great seeing you all. Thanks for being with us today. See you soon. Bye.